The Kentucky Derby field. I posted a longer video with the horses races before, but I was chewing gum during that video, and people got pissed at me on YouTube, so I remade this. So this is a quickie video of the Kentucky Derby field. First, we have California Chrome. California Chrome was very inconsistent as a 2-year-old. It wasn't until his race December 22nd, when he grew up into a totally different horse, when Victor Espinosa jumped aboard. He checks all the boxes of a Kentucky Derby winner. He's in great form, working well. He's a Grade 1 winner and beaten graded stakes winners. He's got top speed figures of the group. He's fast early and fast late. Victor Espinosa's his jockey, and he's won a Kentucky Derby before, so he's got an experienced jockey. He's been crushing his opponents over the last 4 races, winning by a combined 24 lengths. Most important of all, he's winning his races decisively. He's been handwritten to the wire in this last few races. In fact, in this last race, if you watch the video, Victor was actually slowing him down before they even reached the wire. So, he visually he looks like a horse that has a lot in the tank, a lot more in the tank. He's the favorite. He's gonna be a short price, but that's California Chrome. I like him to win, but there's also, I would say, at least 2 more contenders to win. Vicar's in trouble. Strikes me as the type of horse that will hit the wall at around a mile and an eighth. His dosage index suggests that he's not supposed to go a mile and a quarter. He may be one of those horses that will end up as a pace casualty too if he races in the front with Wildcat Red and others. I expect him to hold on the longest, but because his wins have been impressive, he's winning races by many lengths. But the bad thing about him also is that his last work at Churchill Downs was very, very poor. A lot of people did not like his work, so he may not perform at all in the Kentucky Derby. The next horse is Dance with Fate. He's always in the exacta. He's all class, up and down his PPs. You'll see Grade 1 races. Those are the top races in American racing and world racing. Group 1 races, Grade 1 races are the top of the top class races. His races are often better than they look on paper, since he's been racing wide and losing ground. Still finds himself at the finish line, either finishing first or second in most of his races. He's got the right running style to win the Derby. He's a closer, so meaning that he races from back, mid-pack or in the back. He's never won on dirt, however, but he was second in the Grade 1 frontrunner at Santa Anita on dirt. The negatives: his trainer, who knows him best, initially felt that the Derby would be too quick for him to run his best. He also said that he doesn't know if he likes dirt, so watch out for that. He's only working out once before the Derby too, which I don't like. Ideally, I'd rather see horses work out twice before the Derby, whether it's at Churchill Downs or in their home track. It's hard to say he'll be cranked up with just one workout, and he's getting ready to run the hardest race of his life. So I'd like to see at least 2 works. He's also a potential bounce candidate. Moving on to the next one, Wicked Strong. Wicked Strong is, my opinion, he's trying to fool us. He won the Grade 1 Wood Memorial, but outside of New York, he has not performed. He may be a horse that just loved the Aqueduct Truck or New York tracks. He earned a huge speed figure that he'd not been close to before. He's a big bounce candidate for me. A bounce candidate means that usually horses, when they have a huge top effort that's uncommon or unusual for them, they often underperform, and it's not a perfect theory, but it works sometimes. So he's a bounce candidate. But he is working well by all accounts. Everybody that's seen him work out says that he's working great. Samraat is the next horse, and he is exactly what his PPs say he is. PPs means past performances. He's a Grade 3 winning Aqueduct horse. He's not Grade 1 level, at least not yet. He was He was second in the Wood Memorial, but several lengths back to the winner, Wicked Strong. Um, and Wood Memorial horses that raced in the Wood Memorial have not performed well in the Kentucky Derby recently, so that's also bad. Um, he's also likely to be too close to the pace and be swallowed up in the stretch. He has no late speed, or he has not a lot of late speed, so tough to love him. Danza's actually the most confusing horse of all in the Kentucky Derby. He looked very good at winning the Arkansas Derby, but may have been a weak field and horses that were actually going backwards. My gut says that it was a freak performance, unlikely to repeat it, and may regress off that huge win. He only has 4 lifetime starts, so he's a big green, and it's hard to say he's gonna survive the Derby. He's getting ready to race in the toughest race of his life. Tough to say he's gonna win it. Pletcher's also not very good in the Kentucky Derby. Um, so everybody that's seen him at Churchill Downs says that Danza looks great. His last work was okay. I don't know. He's confusing. I'll probably include him in my exotic wagers, but I don't know. Hoppertunity is a sort of a controversial horse. I believe he'll fall to the curse of Apollo, and that means that no horse since Apollo in 18 something something has won the Kentucky Derby without racing at 2 years old. This horse started racing at 3, and unlikely. There's been better horses than him that couldn't overcome that inexperience of racing as a 2-year-old. His best win was the Rebel Stakes, but it was under wet track conditions, and we always overestimate and overvalue wet, wet, wet track wins. Or when horses win and it's a wet track, we always think they're great, and sometimes it turns out they weren't that great. Um, did run a good second in Santa Anita Derby and galloped out well. He has a huge gallop out, so he's one of those horses that will probably be there at the end. Great candidate to work to hit the board, working well. He's got 2 Hall of Fame trainer and Bob Baffert and the Hall of Fame jockey and Mike Smith. Unlikely to win in my opinion, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finished second. Intense Holiday is a horse that I like. He's a great long shot. Well, maybe not so much because everybody likes him working out. Maybe he won't be a long shot anymore, but he's got tons of graded stakes experience. He's winning the Risen Star was his breakout performance. If he can repeat that, he has a great shot of winning the Kentucky Derby. He ran a very odd race in the Louisiana Derby, which was his last race. He had trouble throughout the race and probably didn't like being stuck on the one post and right in the rail for most of that race. But he did gallop out well. He looks like he's got some stamina, and he will probably be there at the end. I think he's got a shot to win. He's got Johnny Velasquez, Hall of Fame jockey Johnny Velasquez, jumping aboard. He won with Animal Kingdom a few years back, so I think he's got a good shot. He's a little bit of a buzz horse working out at Churchill Downs. For those that read the Thoroughgraph sheets, he may have what they call the O2X pattern, meaning that he had a top effort in the Risen Star, then regressed by 2 points in the Louisiana Derby, and maybe an off race is coming, but hard to say. That's just a tricky theory as well. But let's move on. Wildcat Red is the next one. He's won a lot of races, been second in some of his races as well, losing by a neck and a head. And when you look at this horse, you think, oh my God, this horse is great. But this is a horse likely to be a pace casualty. I sort of see him being probably on the pace, and that's horrible for the Kentucky Derby. In a large field creates an even faster pace than normal. So he's going to be fighting up front with a lot of horses, and he's going to be tiring badly, turning for home. He also has let's see, he's been very lucky. He's winning a lot of races, but he's been very lucky getting inside posts in a lot of his races, getting post 1 and 4 or 5 inside posts, and an American dirt racing inside speed wins, and he's an inside speed horse. His dosage index suggests that he does not want to go that long as well. Index means that based on a number that they assign these horses, you can look this up on the internet. They can sort of determine whether the horse wants to has the stamina to go long, or if he's more likely to be a sprinter, a horse that can sustain speed for shorter periods of time. Look it up if you don't know what that means. Ba, ba, ba. His PPs demonstrate also that he doesn't want to go that long. The longer they've gone, the closer they've gotten to him, and that a mile and an eighth, Constitution beat him. He also had a really bad work, so I would toss him. Miss Artie, there's not a lot to say about this horse. He's a synthetic specialist. His worst races have been on dirt. He also has a bad pattern, and a bad race is coming next. Um, his trainer didn't want him to go to the Derby because of his bad work, and his last work was bad. His trainer sending him anyway, though. I mean, his owner wants him to race there anyway. Right on Curlin, I don't. A lot of people like this horse. I don't at all. He's yet to win a great stakes race. They haven't really figured it out. He's on the pace sometimes, then he comes off the pace. He always seems to finish in the money, but not much of a winner. He gets Calvin Burrell, which jockey's won 3 Kentucky Derbies. I don't see it. His works were okay, but he only worked once, and I don't like that either. I would toss him. Chitu is he's also likely a horse that's likely to be on the lead. He has no closing kick. He has no late speed, so I don't like him. I don't like him at all either. Um, if Bob Baffert actually kind of keeps making fun of him. He keeps mentioning the Sunland Derby as being a weak craze, or he's sort of suggested that. So obviously Bob Baffert doesn't think Chitu is an elite horse. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent him to the Sunland Derby, the Grade 3 Sunland Derby. Not a whole lot there. Let's move on. Tapiture was a horse that I really liked. Was one of my top 3 contenders, but he looked like he went backwards in his last race. He probably is one of those horses that peaked already. He was 4th in the Arkansas Derby behind the winner by 7 lengths. In order to win the Kentucky Derby, you really, over the last decade or so, you really need to win your last prep or be a close second. And he doesn't doesn't seem like a win candidate. However, he is a Grade 2 winner at Churchill Downs, so he likes Churchill Downs, and that's where the Kentucky Derby is. So he could bounce back, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't like him that much. General A-Rod. General A-Rod is a horse that likes to be close to the lead, and that spells disaster. He strikes me as a horse that'll try to keep up with the pace and get past Turning for Home. He's a fighter. He gets blinkers on, which is bad for the Derby. That late equipment change is bad. At least that's what I keep hearing. So people say that he's working well. He gets Joel Rosario. Joel Rosario won the Kentucky Derby last year. I don't like him. He's yet to win a race. Well, that's untrue. He won in January. But let's move on. I don't really like him. Metal Ken is sort of a buzz horse. A lot of people like this horse. He's looked good at Churchill Downs. But his worst races have been on dirt. He's finished off the board of 2 legitimate graded stakes races. He's been way off the board. So I don't like him. The Kentucky Derby will also be his 3rd race in about a month, and that's a lot of racing. It's hard to say he's gonna win the Derby. The Bluegrass Stakes was his last race, and that was probably his peak effort. Unlikely to perform in the Derby. I would say he's a bounce candidate, likely to regress in his next start, regardless of how he's working. Candy Boy is a horse that he was my top contender. Then I moved him to 2nd behind California Chrome. He's probably, I don't know. A lot of people like the way he's working. So maybe he won't be a long shot. Before those works, maybe he would have been like 20, 30 to 1 odds. He's not much of a winner, but maybe not even fast enough based on the Equibase figures and the Thoroughgraph figures. He doesn't seem like one of the fastest horses here, but he lost the Breeders' Cup. He's losing to the horses that he's losing to are really good horses. He's losing to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner New Year's Day. He lost to the Eclipse champ, Shared Belief. In his last race, he lost to California Chrome. So, you can't hate him too much because he's losing to good horses. Granted, he's also losing by a lot, but he sort of has a little bit of a good bad pattern. If you look at his past performances, he sort of developed a pattern where he'll win a race, then lose, be second, third, and yeah, not not a great angle, but I sort of believe like that a good race is coming next. What's most important to me about this horse is that he has a tremendous gallop out. So after he's finishing his races, he's still going. He looks like he still has energy. So he's one of those horses that looks like he'll relish the mile and a quarter, especially if the pace is suicidal, which it will be again this year. He should be there to finish, to pick up the pieces and finish in the top three, I think, and maybe hit the board. Um, Next we have Uncle Si. Uncle Si has not won a race this year. I apologize earlier. I said General Aidrod was adding blinkers, but it's actually Uncle Si. I made that mistake in my earlier video too. So he hasn't won a race this year. He likes to fight for the lead, which is a recipe for the disaster. Likely pace casualty. Toss. Vinceremos. His only 2 wins came when he saved all the ground. He barely got his nose in front to win those races. His dosage index of 7 is worst in this field. There's no way he wants to go 1 mile and a quarter. Also, as he's ascending class, he's performing worse and worse. And with classy horses in the Kentucky Derby, he's got no chance. He might actually finish last. Harry's Holiday is a synthetic horse, likely to finish last also, or towards the back of the field. Commanding Curve was actually a horse that I liked initially because his races at Churchill Downs. He's actually one of those horses that actually has experience at Churchill Downs. He's also a closer, which is good for the Kentucky Derby. Good breeding, but according to the clockers at Churchill Downs, he looked horrible in his last work. So that's enough reason for me to toss him. So that's it, your Kentucky Derby video.